Training video, Prison Complacency by Carl Torsbins. Contraband and other stuff can find you trouble quick if you don't do your job. Correctional officers fight this battle every day of the week they are inside our prisons. This feeling of overcoming complacency is a must for those who walk the toughest beat in America, our prisons and correctional facilities throughout our country. Resisting complacency is an uphill battle to ensure better work conditions and a safer place to work in. The first tool available to fight complacency is the reality check, where you are working and spending your time as you share your workplace with potentially violent prisoners, dirty work conditions, and lackadaisical staff that don't have your six like they promised you. Let's make a checklist of your potential dangers. And by the way, this video was requested to be made by correctional officers at the Penitentiary of New Mexico, Santa Fe. Prison hazards, contraband, diseases, weapons, assault, extortion, theft, escapes or attempted escapes, homicides of prisoners, homicides of staff. As you read the papers, the violence rate inside of our prisons have gone up tremendously, and in order to avoid falling into a pit called complacency, you must be inspired to remain alert and energized at all times. You must be motivated from within your heart to stay on track and adhere to those training tools learned or taught at the academy, on the job, and gained through practice, and more practice. Obviously, the better the practice, the more perfect you are at doing this. First off, the reality check should be a real reason to stay alert and do your job. It's very important that you never lose thought of that moment where you come across a moment of temptation to slack off. You must create a mindset that is extremely helpful to sustain this reality check at all times. In other words, because this job has its boring or downtime, it is important you stay on track. Use the ability to play back your memories on how contraband, weapons, violence impact your own and other safety, and remind yourself of the seriousness this job requires to keep as safe as possible while on duty inside one of these cesspools of opportunities for prisoners to manipulate items that can harm you when you're searching or doing your job. Even the most routine job can have its pitfalls. Enlist accountability partner to help you in your journey to fight complacency. Make a pact to search whenever you can and do tasks accordingly and what keeps you safe during your rounds inside the cell blocks, work areas, transports, and other security tasks 24/7 every day of the week. We know overtime plays a factor there. Discuss your progress and pitfalls. Ensure you keep a record of your findings. Once you have a routine, switch the routine a little to avoid being predictable. Do this even if you feel you're doing well or making headway with your task and findings. Sometimes the best way to prevent creeping of complacency is to invest in preventive steps to keep you alert and energized. Remember that it's a psychological battle that you're fighting here, not a physical. However, because it can be physical, remember this is a marathon, not a sprint. You must be able to conduct your job and associated responsibilities with consistency, thoroughness, and completeness. Don't get distracted once you start a task, and don't surrender your efforts to meet your own expectations. Maintain your health, your confidence, and your ability to avoid burnout, and stay focused on what you set out to do on each shift every time you punch in. Make sure you avoid shortcuts. Make sure you use your personal protection equipment. Follow the policies and procedures. Make sure you inform your supervisor of your findings and events on the shift. Document any and all unusual events on your shift and share with coworkers. Use due diligence and caution, never exposing yourself to self-harm or harm from others. Avoid cheating. Consistency does not happen overnight. It takes practice, and practice.